The ship called Serenity of Stars moved slowly through the dark space near the nebula. It was a beautiful ship, long and silver, built by the consortium many years ago. High researcher Velith stood at the main screen, watching the colors of the nebula dance in the distance. The purple and blue clouds moved like smoke in water. It was peaceful here, far from the busy worlds of the consortium. Velith was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and 4 eyes that could see many things at once. The consortium had sent this ship to study the nebula, to learn its secrets. It was simple work, safe work. Nothing ever happened in this part of space. That was why Velith liked it. Then the computer made a sound, a small beep. Velith looked at the screen and saw something strange. There was a signal coming from inside the nebula. It was weak, but it was there. A ship. There was a ship inside the nebula. Commander Thalys came to stand next to Velith. Thalys was shorter than Velith, with darker skin and only 2 eyes. He was the military commander of the ship, and he did not like surprises. "What is it?" Thalys asked. "A vessel," Velith said. "But I do not know what kind. The computer cannot find it in our records." Thalys looked at the screen for a long time. An unknown ship. In all his years of service, he had never seen an unknown ship. The consortium knew every species in this part of the galaxy. They had records of every ship, every design, every civilization. But this ship was different. This ship was not in the records. "Move closer," Thalys said, "but slowly, very slowly." The Serenity of Stars moved toward the nebula. As they got closer, the unknown ship became clearer on their screens. It was not like any ship Velith had ever seen. It was rough and hard, made of dark metal. There were marks on the hull, burns and scratches. This ship had been through many battles, many dangers. Velith ran more scans. The computer analyzed the metal of the unknown ship, looking for clues about where it came from. When the results came back, Velith felt cold. Very cold. "Commander," Velith said, and the voice was shaking. "The elements on that hull, they can only come from one type of planet." "What type?" Thalys asked. "A Class 15 Deathworld." The bridge became very quiet. Everyone stopped what they were doing. They all looked at Velith, hoping that the researcher had made a mistake. But Velith did not make mistakes. Not about things like this. In the consortium, planets were given classes based on how dangerous they were. A Class 1 planet was safe and gentle, perfect for life. A Class 5 planet was difficult but possible. A Class 10 planet was considered the limit. No species could evolve on a planet more dangerous than Class 10. It was impossible. The gravity would crush them. The radiation would kill them. The weather would tear them apart. The other creatures would eat them. And this ship came from a Class 15 world. "That is impossible," Thalys said. "Nothing can survive on a Class 15 world. Nothing can evolve there. Nothing can build ships there." "The computer does not lie," Velith said. "The elements are clear. That ship was built by beings from a Class 15 death world." Ambassador Orion came to the bridge then. Orion was old and wise, with gray skin and many wrinkles. The ambassador was responsible for first contact with new species. But this was different. This was not first contact. This was something that should not exist. "Scan for life signs," Orion said quietly. Velith did not want to. Velith already knew what the scan would show. But the researcher followed the order. The computer searched the unknown ship, looking for life. 5 life signs, Velith said. "They are alive. There are living beings on that ship." Thalys stepped back from the screen. His hands were shaking. "We should leave," he said. "We should leave now. Report this to the council and let them decide what to do." "We cannot leave," Orion said. "The first contact protocol is clear. We must attempt communication." "Protocol?" Thalys said. These beings survived a Class 15 world. Do you understand what that means? Every part of them must be built for killing, for fighting, for surviving things that would destroy us in seconds. They are walking weapons. Orion looked at the unknown ship on the screen. It sat there in space, dark and quiet. It did not move. It did not threaten. It just waited. Perhaps, Orion said, or perhaps they are just survivors like us. We will not know until we speak with them. Before anyone could argue more, the unknown ship began to move. Its engines came to life, glowing with orange light. The consortium crew watched in terror. Were they about to attack? Were they about to run? What would these impossible beings do? Then a message came through, simple words in a simple pattern, mathematical codes, the universal language of all intelligent life. The beings from the Class 15 Deathworld were trying to say hello. Velith looked at the message, then at the commander, then at the ambassador. The galaxy had just changed forever, and none of them knew if that change would bring peace or destruction. The unknown ship waited for an answer, and somewhere inside it, beings that should not exist were waiting too. Captain Park Do-hun sat in his chair on the bridge of the undying star. He was a tall man with short black hair and tired eyes. For 3 weeks, his ship had been stuck in this nebula. The jump drive had broken, and they had been drifting, waiting for rescue, waiting for anyone to find them. Now someone had found them, an alien ship, real aliens. Park could not believe it. "Captain," said Lieutenant Kim Gina from her station. She was the science officer, a small woman with sharp eyes and quick hands. "They are responding to our message. I think I can build a translation program." "Do it," Park said. Kim worked fast. She was always fast. The mathematics of language were like a game to her, numbers and patterns, sounds and meanings. Within an hour, she had a basic translation working. The first real message from the aliens came through. It was simple and careful. "We are the consortium. We come in peace." "What are you?" Park smiled. Such a simple question, such a big answer. "We are humans," he said into the communicator. "From the planet Earth. Our ship is damaged. We need help with repairs." There was a long pause. Park wondered if the translation had worked. Then the answer came. "Earth. We know this name. It is in our old records, a forbidden world, a Class 15 planet. How are you alive?" Park looked at Kim. She looked back at him. Neither of them understood what Class 15 meant, but they could hear the fear in the alien's voice, even through the translation. "We are alive because we were born," Park said simply. "Earth is our home. We have always lived there." Another long pause. Then a different voice came through. It was slower, more careful. Park guessed this was someone important. "I am Ambassador Orion of the consortium. We would like to meet with you, face to face. Is this possible?" Park did not hesitate. "Yes, we would like that too." Sergeant Lee Taewon stood up from his station at the back of the bridge. He was a big man, strong and quiet, with scars on his hands from many fights. He was the head of security, and it was his job to keep the crew safe. "I will go with you, Captain," Lee said. It was not a question. "Good," Park said. "Kim, you too?" "We need someone who can talk to them." Dr. Yoon Sora walked onto the bridge. She was the medical officer, a calm woman with gentle hands. "I should come as well," she said, "in case anyone gets hurt." Park nodded. "Fine. Choi, you stay here and keep working on the jump drive." Engineer Choi Minho waved from his station. He was covered in grease and his hair was messy. He had not slept in 2 days. "I will fix it, Captain. Do not worry." On the consortium ship, Commander Thalys watched the humans prepare for the meeting. He could see them through the ship's cameras. They moved without fear. They laughed and talked with each other. One of them, the big one, was checking a weapon, but he did it casually, like it was nothing special. They are not afraid, Thalos said. Why are they not afraid? Velith studied the data from the scans. Their heart rates are normal. Their stress levels are low. They truly do not see us as a threat. That makes them more dangerous, Thalos said. A creature that does not fear the unknown has faced worse things than we can imagine. Orion prepared for the meeting. The ambassador put on a full environmental suit, just in case. Emergency teleportation beacons were attached to every member of the consortium team. Medical supplies were ready. Weapons were charged, but hidden. The humans arrived at the meeting point in a small shuttle. When they stepped out, the consortium crew saw them clearly for the first time. They were terrifying. They had eyes that faced forward like hunters. Their teeth were visible when they smiled, and some of those teeth were sharp. They moved with a smooth power that spoke of muscles and bones designed for violence. The big one, Lee, walked like a predator. Even the small one, Kim, had eyes that watched everything, missed nothing. But they smiled. They offered their hands in greeting. They spoke with warm voices and kind words. "Thank you for meeting with us," Captain Park said. "We have been alone for a long time. It is good to see other intelligent life." Orion could not speak for a moment. These beings, these impossible survivors from a world that should have killed them 1,000,000 times over, were thanking the consortium. They were happy to meet them. "You are welcome," Orion finally said. "We have many questions." Park laughed. It was a strange sound, loud and sudden. "We have questions too. This is a good start." And so first contact began. Not with war, not with fear, but with questions and curiosity. The galaxy would never be the same. The meeting room was on a small station between the two ships. The consortium had built it quickly, a neutral place where both sides could talk safely. At least, that was what they hoped. High Researcher Velith sat across from the humans, recording everything, every movement, every word, every breath. The data was incredible. These beings should not exist, but here they were, drinking water and making jokes. "Your world," Velith said carefully. "Can you tell us about it?" Lieutenant Kim Gina smiled. She liked this alien. Velith was curious, like her. "Earth is beautiful," she said. "It has blue oceans and green forests, mountains that touch the sky, deserts that stretch forever." "And the dangers?" Velith asked. Kim thought about it. "Well, there are storms sometimes, big ones. They can destroy whole cities, and earthquakes. The ground shakes and buildings fall down. We have volcanoes too, mountains that spit fire." Velith felt sick. The casual way she described these disasters, buildings falling, fire from mountains, and she called her world beautiful. "What about the other creatures?" Velith asked. "Oh, we have many animals," Kim said. "Some are dangerous. Lions, tigers, bears, sharks in the ocean, snakes with poison, but most animals are friendly. We have dogs and cats as pets. They live in our homes with us." "You keep predators in your homes?" Commander Thalos said from the corner. He had been silent until now, watching. Sergeant Lee laughed. "Dogs are not dangerous. They are our friends. They protect us. They play with our children." Thalos looked at his screen. The consortium database showed what Earth dogs looked like. Sharp teeth, powerful jaws, fast legs. These were clearly hunting animals, and humans kept them as friends. Dr. Yoon Sora was talking to a consortium medical officer. They were sharing information about their bodies, their health, their medicine. The consortium doctor was very interested. "When you get sick," the consortium doctor asked, "what happens?" "Our immune system fights the disease," Yoon said. "White blood cells attack the infection. We get a fever to kill the germs. Usually we get better in a few days." "A fever?" "Yes. Our body temperature goes up, sometimes very high. It makes us feel bad, but it helps kill the sickness." The consortium doctor checked the numbers. Human body temperature was already high. When they had a fever, It went even higher. Any consortium species would die at that temperature, but humans just felt tired and drank soup. Velith was studying human bones now. Kim had agreed to a medical scan. The results were amazing. Human bones were dense, much denser than any consortium species. They could take impacts that would break consortium bodies like glass. "You have broken bones before?" Velith asked Kim. "Oh yes," Kim said. "I broke my arm when I was a child. I fell from a tree." "And what happened?" "The doctor put it in a cast. After 6 weeks it was healed. Good as new." Velith stared at her. Human bodies could repair broken bones. They could heal themselves. This was impossible. This was wonderful. This was terrifying. Captain Park was talking to Ambassador Orion about their ship. "We had a problem with our jump drive," he explained. "There was a radiation leak. Choi has been working on it for weeks." "A radiation leak?" Orion said. "For weeks? How are you still alive?" Park looked confused. "It was not that bad. We sealed the worst areas. Choi wears a suit when he works near it." Orion felt dizzy. The radiation levels on the human ship would kill any consortium species in minutes. But the humans had lived with it for weeks. They had worked near it. They had only sealed the worst areas. Back on the undying star, engineer Choi Minho was showing consortium engineers his work. They watched through cameras, too afraid to enter the ship themselves. "The main problem is here," Choi said, pointing to a damaged part. "I need to replace this whole section, but I do not have the right parts." He was working without a suit in an area that glowed with radiation. His hands were steady. His movements were calm. He had done this many times before. "We can give you parts," one of the consortium engineers said through the communicator. "But please, please put on protection. The radiation levels are deadly." Choi looked at his scanner. "This level? This is fine. I have worked in worse conditions. On Earth, we had a factory accident once. That was real radiation." The consortium engineers could not speak. They just watched as this impossible human worked in conditions that would kill them instantly. As the day went on, the consortium crew began to understand something important. The humans were not monsters. They were not weapons. They were just people. Normal people, from their point of view. They laughed at jokes. They worried about their families back home. They missed their favorite foods and their comfortable beds. But they were also survivors. Every part of them had been shaped by their deadly world. Their strong bones, their healing bodies, their fearless minds. They had evolved to survive anything, and now they were out among the stars. Velith made a note in the research file. "Humans. Impossible, incredible, and surprisingly kind. Further study required." The fear was slowly changing into something else, something like awe, something like respect. The alarm came without warning. One moment, everything was calm. The next, red lights flashed and sirens screamed. Both ships shook as something grabbed them from outside. Captain Park was the first to react. He ran to the window and looked outside. The nebula was moving. No, not moving. Something was coming out of it. A dark shape, huge and terrible. It was a gravity storm, a fold in space itself. "All hands! Emergency stations!" Park shouted into the communicator. His voice was calm. He had seen worse things than this. On the consortium ship, panic had already begun. Commander Thalys shouted orders, but his crew was too afraid to follow them. The gravity storm was pulling at their ship, tearing at the hull. Warning lights showed damage everywhere. "We are going to die!" one of the crew screamed. "We cannot escape! The engines are not strong enough!" Velith held onto a console, trying not to fall. The researcher had never felt gravity like this. It pulled at every part of the body, stretched bones and squeezed organs. This was death. This was the end. Then a voice came through the communicator. Human. Calm. Consortium ship, this is Captain Park. Stay calm. We are going to help you. Lock your ships together with ours. Our engines combined might be enough. Thalos could not believe what he was hearing. The humans wanted to link ships? In this storm? It was suicide, but it was also their only chance. Do it, Thalos ordered. Connect the ships. The two ships came together in the chaos. Metal screamed against metal. But the humans had done this before, in other storms, in other dangers. Their ship locked onto the consortium vessel with perfect accuracy. Engine power at maximum, Park commanded. But it was not enough. The combined engines pushed hard, but the gravity storm was stronger. They were being pulled in, slowly, surely. Death was coming. Engineer Choi Minho appeared on the screen, covered in sweat and grease. Captain, I have an idea. If I can reroute power from the life support systems to the engines, we might have enough force to escape. Do it, Park said. The radiation levels in the engine room are critical, Choi said. I will have to work in there directly. No suit will protect me. Park was silent for a moment. Then he nodded. Be fast, Minho. Choi went into the engine room. The consortium crew watched through cameras. They saw him work in conditions that would kill any of them in seconds. The radiation was so high that the camera images flickered and jumped. But Choi kept working, his hands steady, his mind focused. On the consortium ship, crew members were injured. The gravity shifts had thrown them against walls and floors. Dr. Yoon Sora came aboard through the connection between ships. She moved through the chaos like she had done this 1,000 times before. Stay still, she told an injured consortium member. You have a broken limb. I will set it. Broken? That is death, the injured alien cried. Yoon smiled gently. Not for us, and not for you if you let me help. Your biology is different, but bones are bones. Trust me. She worked quickly, setting the brake, applying bandages from her medical kit. The injured alien watched in amazement. The human's hands were so sure, so skilled. She had done this before, many times. On her deadly world, injuries like this were common. Lieutenant Kim Gina was on the bridge of the consortium ship now, working with their computers. I need to calculate a new escape path, she said to Velith. Your computers are good, but I can make them faster. How? Velith asked. Human mathematics, Kim said with a smile. We had to develop new ways to calculate things. Our world was always trying to kill us. We learned to think fast. Her fingers flew across the console. Numbers and equations filled the screen. Velith tried to follow, but it was too fast, too complex. In minutes, Kim had a solution. There, she said. If we turn 30 degrees and fire all engines in a burst, we can use the storm's own force to throw us out. Sergeant Lee Taewon was organizing the evacuation of damaged sections. He carried injured consortium members on his back, one after another. They weighed almost nothing to him. His strong human body, built by a gravity much higher than theirs, made him seem like a giant. Everyone hold on, Park shouted through the communicator. Choi, are you ready? Ready. Captain? Choi's voice came back, weak but determined. Now! Both ships turned together. The engines fired with everything they had. The extra power from life support systems pushed them harder than should have been possible. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. The gravity storm held them tight. Then they broke free. The ships shot out of the storm like stones from a sling. Behind them, the gravity anomaly collapsed in on itself and disappeared. They were safe. Against all odds, they were safe. The consortium crew looked at the humans with new eyes. These beings had saved them. These impossible creatures from a Class 15 world had walked into danger without hesitation and pulled them all to safety. Thalos found Park on the bridge. The human captain was tired, but he was smiling. Thank you, Thalos said. The words felt small. You saved us all. Park shrugged. That is what we do. Help each other survive. That is how we made it off Earth. Together. The fear was gone now. In its place was something warmer, respect, gratitude, and the beginning of friendship. The consortium station grew larger in the window as both ships approached. It was beautiful, a great ring of metal and light floating in space. Hundreds of ships moved around it, coming and going like busy insects. This was Bright Harbor, the largest trading post in this part of the galaxy. Captain Park Do-hun stood at the window of his ship, watching. He had never imagined seeing something like this. Humans had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now he knew the answer. They were not alone. They had never been alone. Ambassador Orion came to stand beside him. The old alien's fear was gone now, replaced by something warmer. They had survived the storm together. That had changed everything. Captain Park, Orion said, I have spoken with the Consortium Council. They have made a decision about your people. Park turned to face the ambassador. He had been waiting for this. The consortium could welcome humans, or they could reject them. Everything depended on this moment. The council was afraid at first, Orion continued. Your world, your biology, your abilities, everything about you seems dangerous. Many wanted to send you away, to pretend this meeting never happened. Park nodded. He understood. Fear was natural. But then I told them what you did, Orion said, how you risked your lives to save us, how your engineer worked in deadly radiation to give us power, how your doctor healed our injured, how your science officer found the path to safety, how your security officer carried our people to safety on his back. The ambassador's many eyes were bright. The council decided that any species who would do such things for strangers is not a threat. You are survivors, yes, but more than that, you are protectors, you are helpers, and the galaxy needs that. Park felt something tight in his chest loosen. Hope. After weeks of being lost after the terror of the storm, there was hope. Humanity is welcome in consortium space, Orion said formally. More than welcome. We invite you to join us, to trade with us, to learn with us, to help us face the dangers we cannot face alone. In the medical bay, Dr. Yoon Sora was teaching consortium doctors about human medicine. They watched in amazement as she explained how human bodies healed themselves, bones that grew back together, skin that closed over wounds, blood that stopped flowing when it was not needed. Every fact made them gasp. Could you teach us this? One doctor asked. Could humans help us become stronger? Yoon smiled. We can share what we know. That is why we are here. High researcher Valeth had not stopped studying since the storm. The data on humans was the greatest scientific discovery in consortium history. A species that should not exist, doing things that should not be possible. Every test revealed something new, something wonderful. Would you allow us to study your world? Valeth asked Lieutenant Kim Gina. To see Earth with our own eyes? Kim laughed. You might not like it. Remember, it is a Class 15 world. Very dangerous for you. That is exactly why we must see it, Valeth said, to understand how something so beautiful could grow in such terrible conditions. Commander Thalas found Sergeant Lee Taewon in the training room. The human was exercising, lifting weights that the consortium used to test cargo equipment. He made it look easy. I want to learn, Thalas said, how you fight, how you stay calm in danger, how you become so strong. Lee put down the weights and looked at the commander. It is not about being strong, he said. It is about never giving up. Our world taught us that. Every day is a fight. Every moment is a chance to survive or die. We learn to keep fighting no matter what. Can you teach me? Thalas asked. Lee smiled, showing those strange human teeth. I can try. Engineer Choi Min-ho had finally fixed the jump drive with help from consortium technology. The undying star was ready to fly again, but now it would not fly alone. A fleet of consortium ships would escort them, the first official visit between Earth and the rest of the galaxy. Captain Park went to the communications room. It was time to send a message home. The signal would take a long time to reach Earth, but it would get there eventually. The most important message in human history. "This is Captain Park Do-hoon of the Undying Star," he said into the recorder. "We have made contact with alien life. They call themselves the Consortium. They were afraid of us at first. We come from what they call a Class 15 Deathworld. In their records, Earth was marked as impossible, a planet where nothing could survive." He paused, looking out the window at the alien ships around them. "But we survived," he continued. "We always survive. That is what Earth taught us. Now the consortium has invited us to join them, to share our strength, our knowledge, our will to live. Humanity is no longer alone in the universe, and the universe will never be the same." He ended the message and sat back in his chair. Outside, the stars waited. So many stars, so many worlds, so many new friends to make. His ancestors had crawled out of the ocean billions of years ago. They had survived ice ages and fires, predators and plagues, wars and disasters. Every generation had faced death and chosen to keep living. Now their children walked among the stars. The undying star turned toward the nebula, toward home, toward the future. A fleet of alien ships followed behind. The greatest adventure in human history had just begun, and somewhere in the consortium records, a note was added to the file on Earth. It no longer said, "Forbidden World" or Deathworld Class 15. Instead, it said something new, something better. It said, "Home of humanity, our greatest allies, handle with respect.